All right, welcome to the Vanguard show. You're in the Vanguard, guys. Episode number 3. We brought my boy. It's been a few weeks. I've been trying to get him down. He's been a little shy. But once he and I get going, you can't stop us from talking. I think the boys come to your gym and we're talking for like 2 hours afterwards. So once I get you going, I know there's going to be no stopping. This is Carlos Mateo. Carlo owns CrossFit The Rock. He trains most of my guys, pretty much all of them. And 2 weeks ago, I said if Conor McGregor was training with you, he wouldn't have died out. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, maybe. It's a short time to get a lot of that win.
Yeah, you're right. I said that too. But I still think that he would have...
He would have definitely had a little bit more lungs.
Definitely more lungs. More legs too.
For sure.
I think the sign of someone about to lose cardio is when they create their own workout method. Didn't he come up with some sort of like workout method?
Yeah.
The Conor McGregor method. I guess it didn't work for boxing, but maybe he's thinking too much MMA. We've got a lot of great things to talk about this week. It was an awesome card this weekend. Some controversy. We'll get into that. And, we're just going to talk about whatever we want to, however we want to. Last week was a good show. We had Terry Gold on. He did awesome. Nunes is going to have a fight this coming weekend, so he didn't join us this week. So we got Carlo here, and we got R10. Say hello, buddy.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
We got R10 his own microphone, but he doesn't need it. Because I don't know what's up with the microphones this week, but it hears you perfectly now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the card. All right, let's start at the top. But I want to go over everyone because I always want Vanguard show to be a little different than other shows. We don't want to just talk about the famous people, but I have to get this off my chest. I am so upset that Nunes kept her belt. What do you think? Did you see it like I did?
I thought she won the fight. But, now I think the main problem here is this. Mm-hmm. UFC is starting to get big paydays, which the fighters never had before, and good for them for that. But now, people, when they're in the top 5 or they have the belt, they're starting to protect it like they do in boxing.
Right.
And I think that that's the biggest Achilles tendon that boxing had.
Mm-hmm.
They want to protect their record. They want to stay on the champion, hold the championship title for a while. And I think that they feel to fight the smartest fight instead of fighting, or box or whatever it is you want to use. I think she fought a smart fight and she did just enough to win. I thought she won almost every round.
Really?
Yeah.
You and I are watching a totally different fight.
Okay. I thought she won almost every round. She won the first round. Yes.
I don't think she won any rounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought
She was the aggressor in
Yes.
all the rounds.
So what do you?
Okay, I'm sorry. She won the 5th round.
Okay, so why did you
Or
say-
at least the draw
why did she win the 5th round?
because of the takedown.
Okay, so she had to take down the first round.
Right.
So 2 rounds, and now there's 3 rounds up in the air. But you see, here's the thing: it's up to a judge's discretion, right, to score the fight. So what are they giving points for? Takedowns, aggression, right, and coming forward, commanding strikes, control the octagon. I think she did those things in almost every round.
Listen, she got hardly any strikes off.
Neither did the other one.
No, she was hitting her.
If you go
She
on
wasn't giving such great strikes. She wasn't giving, but she was hitting her. She was getting those 1-2s in.
I will say this: Valentina landed the harder, crisper shots.
That's
For
what
sure.
I'm saying.
For sure.
I think
agree.
every round.
I
Even the
agree.
last
I agree with
round.
you.
So
I
she
agree
got
with you.
taken down. Actually, she was trying to take her down.
Right.
She was trying to reverse a takedown. She tried to go for a hip toss. It didn't work out. She ended up in turtle. And, okay, so when she eventually did get taken down, who's throwing all those elbows and punches?
I agree with you. I think Valentina landed the harder shots throughout the whole fight, undoubtedly. Nunes, most of her offense was that little leg kick to the thigh. But she was coming forward. She was the more active fighter. The numbers right there show that.
You know what? When I was
And that's,
watching the
again,
fight,
That, I think, is the problem that the sport has right now. People want to watch a fight. I want to see people throw bombs at each other. I want to see them absorb.
Everybody
punches,
does.
come forward. So when we have a position where, when you have that chunk of gold around your waist and you're earning much, much more money because you have that around your waist, you don't want to give that up. Especially when you came making, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, up to build to what you make for this fight. You know?
I have no idea. I didn't even look
Couple,
at
let's
those
say,
numbers.
let's say.
I'm sure, Artem, you can find that out.
Maybe like a few $100,000, I would
Sure,
guess.
he'll probably.
So, you know, you want to hold on to that. I want to have that earning potential, right? I don't want that to go away because I went out and went for it. And I think that is the problem that the top fighters are going to have. They're going to try and always fight the smart fight to hold on to that title instead of doing the things that got them there to go out and win.
This is, you know what, when I was watching the fight, I knew whoever was going to be on today was going to say that. I do not believe that if someone resets 2 steps back, is someone going back. They basically, she would punch her, then she would reset 2 steps back, and then she would stay her ground. I don't think she was being the aggressor that much. Nothing that should count as aggression points. She was getting punched, okay? She was getting punched often, all right? She was, every time there was an exchange, she would miss. Valentina would punch her. She would go back and reset. Listen, Valentina played the safe game too.
I agree.
She didn't want to fall in. She didn't want to fall into a potential, you know, brawl with her because I guess she didn't feel that brawling with her was a good idea. But I think she should have brawled because brawling is better for her. She's got the shorter reach. You get in tight, work the punches. Long distance is better for Nunes. So basically, Valentina played Nunes' game, but still, I think beat her. Okay, she got taken down in the 5th round. And she was hitting her. She was elbowing. She was punching. Nunes was just holding on for dear life. And you know what? As a champion, I think you should get your belt taken away for playing like that. I think that was a disgust. Okay, so let's say we give, it was a 5-round fight, right? So let's say we give first round and last round to Nunes, which I don't give her, all right? I don't give her whatsoever. But let's say we do. Did Valentina get those other 3 rounds?
I don't think so. Personally, I like both of them as fighters. I think that, you know, Nunes was coming forward. She was a more aggressive fighter. I think she definitely, because of the takedowns, 1st and 5th. I don't think she gave away maybe 1 round.
Listen, I think that they gotta pick better judges, and I think, well, let's not blame the judges right now, okay? Because that might be a little emotional on my part. Let's just say this: they can't see. They can't see.
You're right, you can't.
They don't know what's going on because the fight that I'm watching, lots of times the judges are watching something else. And you know what? I think the judges should have, you know what? They shouldn't be boxing judges. They shouldn't be friends of someone. They should be people who understand MMA. All right? Boxing and MMA is totally different. You got to understand everything that a person's doing down there. Takedown is not enough if you're not doing anything. If you're getting, if someone's trying to submit you and is punching you, your takedown should be not only nullified, it should be a minus for you because you did nothing. Personally, I think it was a horrible call. I think Valentina won that fight. Listen, nothing for her to be proud of because she should have fought. She should have fought her. You know, she should have got in there, used her tricks, used her kickboxing ability. She didn't even throw too many of those awesome kicks that she throws in other fights. She was being really conservative, and she could have done better, but I think she pulled it out. What do you think, Artem?
I thought Nunes won, but Shevchenko was the aggressor. Like, even though she wasn't physically stepping forward, I thought she was slipping a lot of punches and landing 3 punches after.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was countering much more.
Yeah.
And
With
the
the
thing,
harder shots. I agree with that. 100%.
You know, maybe there needs to be some sort of computer help too in the judging, where a computer actually counts the punches. If you look at Levon's fight with Diaz, right? He threw like twice as many punches, but he lost the fight. It's kind of like, you know what? Judges suck. and the system sucks. I think they need to put him in a room somewhere
Well,
with cameras.
let's dissect this in little pieces.
Let's go.
Before we do, let's do this. You say that you think Valentina won, right? You think that she did enough
Without
to
a doubt.
take the champion
Enough, I
belt,
think, without
to
a
take
doubt.
the champion belt.
Absolutely.
Because to me,
I don't believe in that saying.
to me,
It's like if you get beat, but you it's like if you get beat, but you don't get beaten well enough that you shouldn't have the belt. No, if you get beat, you should have the belt. I mean, you should give up your belt.
I think you should.
Your
have
belt
to
should be
do-
taken away.
You should have to do. You should have to win decisively.
In a perfect world, but let's talk numbers here. Let's talk numbers. I think she won, and she should have walked away with that belt. It was a bad decision on the judge's part, and you know what? It pisses me off. Sometimes it makes me not want to watch fights because of bad decisions like
I
that.
think that this fight, you feel the way you do, and I kind of a little bit too, is because this was going to be the fight. And I didn't want to see Demetrius Johnson fight on this card. I wanted to see her. I wanted to see this fight. This was the fight I wanted to see. So I think that's
Why?
why
Because
a lot of
Demetrius would win.
I that guy. I think he's the best to ever do it, man, for sure. But this is the fight that I wanted to see. You know what I mean? And I thought it wasn't as good as it could have been. It was an entertaining fight. It could have been a barn burner, and it should have been a barn burner. So I agree with what you were just saying there about emotions involved with it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that she did enough. To
This
win.
was Valentina's opportunity.
Yes.
Because I'm not gonna say that Nunes was scared, but she had a little doubt in her mind,
Because she's the only one that stood with her. The only one that gave
Right.
her,
and she should have exploited that opportunity better. I think she won the fight, but that doesn't matter. Well, on paper she lost, so what the hell does it matter? I'm just giving you my feeling. I think the judging system is horrible. I think the judges they choose are horrible. I think judges can't see. I mean, when I'm cornering my fighters, I can't see most of the time, So I think they give them better seats, but still.
Yeah, but you have a little bit better seat, but you're still looking up, and you can't see a lot of the action when it's turned sideways. So,
Yeah.
how many times have you ever watched a fight live and then went home and watched it again on a replay, and you're like, oh, God, remember this happened?
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
you have a different
Absolutely.
vantage point. And I don't care.
I think they should take
I don't
judges
care
out.
about any sports or anything you want to talk about. I think that watching it at home,
Right.
on a TV where you have the ability to look at the fight or whatever it is from different angles,
Yeah.
you have a totally different perspective on what it is.
I think that judges should be in a room with 3 screens and have 3 different angles, and replays available for them.
Separate from each other.
Yes. And there should be a computerized system that counts the punches.
I think with that though, people will tend to rely on the numbers that are there instead of watching the fight. Because listen, I've judged a bunch of Muay Thai fights.
Right.
And, there's been times when I watch 2 guys going, it's a really close round. Like I'm looking at the scorecard, I'm like, fuck. This could literally go either way. And for me, at that point, I'm going to give it to the guy who was more aggressive that round. You know what I'm saying? Who was throwing the harder shots. So you have a valid point with Valentina there about throwing the more commanding, powerful shots.
I was worried. Don't think that I blindly said, "Oh, that's it. She would have won." I was worried because she was taking the 2 steps back, but I don't think 2 steps back is enough to constitute, I'd say.
I think they say that because Nunes had the center of the octagon almost the whole fight. And that's why I say she was, commanding the ring. She was more aggressive. She took the middle of the octagon and didn't relinquish it. Valentina circled around the outside, which is, how you get away from the threat that's in front of you. But Nunes kept her right against, with her back towards the cage the majority of the fight. That's why I think she commanded more time control of the ring, of the octagon.
I think it was a system that she knew that she was going to use. She was going to throw her punches. She was going to reset. And she knew exactly where she wanted to reset. But when Nunes came in, she didn't go back. She
counterpunched.
Yeah, she stood there, and she stood there solidly. There was no foot movement on her part.
But I think the deciding factor for her would have been when Nunes came in and she slipped or, got to the side or parried or blocked, whatever, and countered. She shouldn't have just stopped at 2-3. She should have kept coming 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and started trying to back Nunes up. And
Listen,
then we
it's-
would have had the fight we wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, I give you that 100%. It wasn't the fight that I
Right.
wanted to see, but I think that the judging was horrible. I mean, you could sit and disagree. A bunch of people could disagree, but if we go back and watch that fight, Nunes did nothing.
On that note, wasn't there one of the judges scored something like 24?
For
one of the
Valentina?
no, one of the undercard fights.
I don't know.
I was like, how the hell do you get 24? 3-round fight.
I think Gilbert got 25. Because
I
there
know
were
there was
two
one number
tiebreaks.
when they said it. I was like, what? How did that happen?
I don't know. I'm sure we can get the stats on that. Let's go to who I think was the most dominating. Dos Anjos goes up to 170 and destroys Neil Magny. And Neil Magny is no pushover.
He's ranked 6.
And I've met Neil Magny a few times at UFC when we had fights there. We happened to be on similar cards often. And he's an awesome dude. I love that guy. His camp is awesome. Really awesome guys. And I almost felt bad. Man, Dos Anjos really put a beating on this man. I didn't think that was going to happen. I love Dos Anjos. I think he's an awesome fighter, awesome champ, awesome guy, awesome person. All around great guy. I just didn't think that was going to happen. What he did was...
I thought he was going to win pretty handily. I
Yeah,
didn't think he would get a first round submission, but I thought he would stop it maybe in the second one. I thought he was definitely going to get a decision. Dos Anjos is
I wasn't saying that one was going to win or the other. I thought it would be a good fight, and I was just going to sit back. I wouldn't bet on that fight because I really think that both of them are awesome. I just didn't think that sort of domination would happen by either side. That was mutilation right there.
I think that happened
Yeah,
because Dos Anjos went back to his grassroots. If you think when he first came,
right.
jiu-jitsu, his striking wasn't really where it should be for him to be competing against good guys.
Right.
And he did what he should have did. He developed a striking game. And then he kind of forgot about his jiu-jitsu. He fighting everybody stand-up.
Right.
He went and now he's fighting smart. He's using his stand-up
His
to
full-
set up his takedowns to use his jiu-jitsu.
He's using everything. It was
That's
that
the
low
way
kick
you have to
that
fight.
dropped him. What a low kick. That low kick swept him down to the floor. That
It
was
was a good fight.
wow. Dos Anjos, good job, buddy. What a domination. And I love how he did everything so perfectly. He moved exactly the way he should. He did everything right. I thought there was a Kimura coming up when he was mounted and he had it up really high and he had one leg up. I thought since the arm was right there, he was just going to grab the arm and go for a Kimura, that mounted Kimura. He didn't do it. He decided to go for something else. But man, great performance. So he's a contender. What do you think? We know Magny's a contender.
I think so too.
He's a contender at 170, a real contender. How do you match him up against Woodley?
I think Woodley would probably edge him out only because that man is dynamic and explosive. He moves so fast. And I think that his athleticism would be the deciding factor in that fight.
Yeah.
And I think he's smart enough not to really, stay on the ground in a dangerous position with Dos Anjos. He'll wrestle him down, and if he doesn't have control, I think he'll stand right back up.
That's what I would have said, but after that performance, I don't know. He's not the type of guy to play the safe game.
Any day, anything can happen.
Any day.
Any day, anything can happen.
But listen, definitely, I give the power advantage and the explosive advantage to Woodley, but not to say that Dos Anjos isn't explosive, because he is.
No,
He's
he is.
extremely explosive. It's just when you're exploding with those muscles.
Woodley's on a different
Yeah.
level of athleticism.
Yeah.
He really is.
But here's the thing. Woodley is wrestling, and he's jiu-jitsu. Dos Anjos. Jiu-jitsu has always had an answer for wrestlers. If wrestlers didn't learn jiu-jitsu and learn it well, they were susceptible to awesome jiu-jitsu guys. Maya proved that. But then again, we couldn't even see Maya's jiu-jitsu happen.
Right.
There's no way. I don't think Dos Anjos is going to go in there and try to take Woodley down. He's going to fight him. He's going to fight, and he's going to use his jiu-jitsu in the fight. Maya's a little too one-dimensional, where you know what he's going to do. He's looking for that takedown.
Him and Maya would be a good fight.
Him and Maya? I don't think so.
No?
I think he'd chew him up.
I think he'd choose him up stand up, but
I think he would
I
do
think
what-
it's a kickboxing match.
I think that he would do what Woodley didn't do. You know, from that distance, and really, I mean, not from the, I'm saying stand up, just really go after him in the stand up. Not give him a chance.
I think that would be an entertaining fight.
That would, but I don't know. What do you think is going to be the next thing for Dos Anjos? I mean, they're not going to put him up for the belt right away.
No.
What do you think? But
Fight.
Maya's a good
Maya's
choice.
cool.
Maya's a good choice. But Maya did say in the press conference that they're thinking about but adding a few more weight classes. And Maya would take one of those.
Well, there's what,
catch weight.
15-pound gaps between.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And that's why I think they have a lot of issues with guys not making weight, and especially if they pass that thing that they were talking about in California, where you got to weigh in, weeks prior. These guys will never make that.
Yeah. I think some guys are too much with the weight cut.
It's just 230 pounds. You're going down, to
170.
170, or you're 205 and you're dieting down to 155. That's
I mean,
a little weight.
it's like when you cut that much, it's almost like you need that advantage. Why? How do you need that much advantage?
I don't know. I think there's definitely a point of diminished returns.
Right,
When
of
you're
course.
using that- unless listen, you're walking around at 205, you're fighting 155, and you're eating donuts and drinking beer when you're not training.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then okay, maybe now we're in a place where you're going to get an advantage for being a bigger size. But if you're not out of shape and you're 205 and you're going down to 155, I think you're paying the price. I don't think your body's performing the way it needs to be, or the way it could be.
You're right.
Lee Johnson's an example of that.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, that was too much for Rumble John. But then again, he was much younger, so But he eventually fixed his problem. I think a person's okay somewhere, and then eventually they do something.
They're not. Well, you gotta think every time you're training, your body's
Changing,
It's working. It's changing.
Right.
So maybe
You could have-
over time those extra years of training too much.
Yeah, you have DNA that I know some guys you train them a little bit and they just bulk up, and some guys you train them all the time and that nothing happens to their body. So
on games.
yeah, let's talk about Cejudo. Wow,
One of the best
Right, yeah.
performances.
yeah,
Yeah.
great performance. But will that switch to karate stance work against other fighters?
Not against DJ. This kid is no joke. Cejudo is no joke. But
To me, you're asking for leg kicks if you stand like that.
yeah.
That's what I see. He also did a number on race. He really outclassed him everywhere. I mean, he didn't have an answer for him anywhere. I mean, it almost seemed like they just brought this guy in from some B organization or C organization because nobody else was willing to fight Cejudo. I mean, that's not the case, but I'm saying it was a total embarrassment. He really also did it. I mean, I don't think it was as embarrassing as the Dos Anjos fight, but still, I mean, he did a number. He changed his style up. He looked totally different. He fought totally different, and it seems like he's putting it together. And I think the commentating did say that he is fairly new to the game.
Sure.
So he is growing.
Athleticism.
Yeah.
Wrestling ability.
Right.
I mean, that dude's real.
You can bring the best wrestler in the world and put him in there against an MMA fighter with those punches coming and it's still a different sort of. And plus, wrestling against a fence is a different thing as well. It's not the same thing. I mean, similar principles, but wow, what a fight! I just don't know in the long run how that karate stance, because you have to be doing karate for years to really make that stance work for you at the highest level. I don't know if it's going to be much against Demetrius Johnson or some other dudes.
I don't think Demetrius holds wins over both of them and dominating wins over both of them.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything's going to be any different if they fight again. But I like Cejudo, man. I was very impressed with that right hand. It was perfect, right down the pipe, right at the end of the extension of the right hand. It was pretty. It was pretty.
It was
nice.
It was nice. It was interesting to watch. I really liked, watching that fight, how he worked, how he put it all together. It was a beautiful fight. He did a great job, and kudos for him for reinventing himself. This late, not late, but you know what I mean, in the middle of his professional career. He did a great job, right on to him. There isn't much to say. He didn't have much competition. His last fight was a win as well, I believe,
I
right?
think it was a split decision loss to Benavidez, but it was really close.
He lost to Benavidez?
I don't know if it was a win or a loss, but
You
it
know,
was
I
a
can't
super
remember.
close fight.
And let's move on to Latifi and Pedro. So this guy comes out, Pedro. We hardly know him. We've hardly seen him. We recognize him mostly by his tattoos, because we've seen those tattoos before. But and then Latifi we've seen before. He saved UFC and passed a card once.
Yeah.
And
Osasi,
Yeah.
he stepped in for Augustus.
he stepped in. He didn't do so well, but he's been growing, and he's been putting it all together really well. Latifi's a tough dude. He's one of those guys. Just like, I think you put your hands on him, and you're like, whoa, this guy's like a rock. What do I do with this dude? And I think that Pedro fought the wrong fight. He's a longer guy. His stand up is good. He should have John Jones this guy. He should have kept him at the distance, boxed him, kickboxed him. He kept going for these, 135-pound kicks, like these flying, ducking head kicks. All right, it works sometimes, but if you do it all the time, the guy just starts to figure it out. I think he gave up this fight. I think he had the tools to win if you would have kept him at a distance. Latifi's a tough dude. He's an awesome power puncher. He's an awesome grappler. But and he's stiff. So that's why you could outclass him in the stand-up. I don't think Pedro did his job. I don't think he went in with the right mindset. He didn't use enough jabs. He didn't use enough combos. He's looking for these power punches, these weird kicks coming out of nowhere. You know what? When you're that big, I don't think you perform those kicks fast enough. So I don't think that's something that should be in your arsenal all the time. I think you should present it sometimes and use your other attributes. Long legs, long arms, box, move your head, work him, make him fight, Didn't do that. He lost the fight. Latifi pulled it out. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you with a lot of what you were saying. I think that Pedro he lost, I think, that fight because he's green. Very little time fighting. I don't think he had a full round in 3 fights, So I think once he understands his distance and starts to understand how he can use that, I think you'll see a totally different fighter out of him. But that night, he didn't do it in the first round. It wasn't looking good. I agree with you with that.
Yeah, I think he has the tools to pull it off, and he comes from a good camp too. I think he's Jackson, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
He is someone to be revered in the future. Right now, I don't think he's put it all together. I think Latifi was too much for him, and you don't try to power knock out Latifi. You know what I mean? I think if you hit Latifi with a 2x4, he'd still be there. He looks like that sort of guy. Let's move on to the prelims.
Well, we got one
Jeez.
more on the main card.
This long.
Oh, how did we forget that?
This was
All right,
crazy.
let's bring that up. Gilbert Melendez and Jeremy Stevens. Wow. What a display of coming into your own. I mean, he's always been a great fighter, but now he put it together perfectly. He didn't rush. He did his job awesome. I mean, my God, Jeremy Stevens looked awesome that night. Those low kicks, what he did to a guy like Gilbert Melendez, you know Melendez is no pushover.
Kill's a beast.
He's an animal, and what he did to him just shows what type of fighter this guy is. He even canceled his wedding.
Right, yeah.
Now that's a fighter, guys.
Yep.
All right? All you, oh, my girlfriend wants me home. Oh, my girlfriend wants me, take me out. I can't come to work out because my girlfriend. Get the F out of here. Now that's a man. And the wife supported him. She knew she was going to be his wife. She didn't freak out. They pushed it back a week. No big deal. The man won, I think, the biggest fight of his life.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe competition-wise it wasn't, but that's a name right there. That's Gilbert Melendez. Not only did he beat, he destroyed. Now, in some cases, a person hurts themselves in a fight, and you're kind of like, you know what, if this didn't happen, this freak thing didn't happen, he would have done much better. In this case, it wasn't that. This was his skill, throwing those leg kicks, that he did that. It was his skill that destroyed him. It wasn't some freak accident. So I will not allow any sort of argument where, oh, if that didn't happen, you know what? He made that happen. That was superior striking on his part. He did a great job everywhere. He waited for the last few seconds of every round, went down to the ground. He didn't even want to give him the opportunity to get a submission. I don't think he would have anyway. But still, he played it smart. He's growing. He's maturing. He knows what he's doing. He's definitely a tough guy to look out for. 145. He's gonna be up there. I hope that he can make it to the top. Let's see what he does against a guy like the champ,
I think on any given night, Stevens could be champion with his knockout power.
Yeah.
But he just has these losses. But he's a guy that's dangerous to anybody in that division.
He's growing.
He could knock out Aldo. He could beat Holloway. It's just on a certain night. He almost knocked out Frankie Edgar with a head kick. He knocked him down at 205.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some more things to do, But let's see what. It seems like he's a new fighter, so let's see what he does with his next opponent up there. I mean, Melendez was out. I could be wrong, but he doesn't look like himself anymore. These guys are OGs.
I tell you, if you would have asked me, looking at his Melendez's leg in the first round, I would have bet anything that leg, that the front bone of his shin was broken. I would have bet anything. And great performance by Stevens, not taking a damn thing away from him. Gill's no pushover, but I was more impressed with him just fucking gritting it out, changing the lefty, and fighting it. He knew he was going to get kicked more on that leg, and he put it out and he did what he should do as a warrior. I'm super impressed with him for that.
I think he should have stayed in lefty stance more often than he did.
I don't think he was comfortable to stand in front of Jeremy lefty, and that's why he was changing back. I don't think he was competent enough striking
I understand.
lefty. But
I understand.
he fought the best fight he could, and there was not a second in that fight where he wasn't trying. You know what I mean? And to me, I gotta give him 1,000 times respect for that.
Listen, when I was young, I used to play basketball, and I was great at it. I was awesome. And then somebody figured out that I can't lay up to the right.
And that was it.
That was it. And then I figured out that I wasn't so good. On the left, an outside shot, I was awesome. You couldn't stop my sky hook unless you were like, 3 heads taller than me. But I could, because no one trained me formally.
Right.
And I think if you're fighting at the professional level, you have to put as much time in your lefty stance as you do in your righty stance. You have to.
I think that's in a perfect world. I don't think.
I think no, because if you're a pro basketball player, you can shoot both ways.
Yeah, but that's a little bit different. To have all the dynamics and dexterity to switch stance and be able to kick off both legs with your weaker leg in the back,
That's why you should
punch
train.
off. I get what you're saying. You should. I think guys absolutely in this time in mixed martial arts have to be able to function with both feet forward in wrestling and kicking and in punching. I think you're going to see very few guys who are very comfortable in fighting southpaw and orthodox and kicking at both.
I hear you, but I disagree. I'm a lefty myself, and when I opened up the gym, I had to teach in righty.
Right.
And what happened is I became a righty when it comes to standing and showing things. And now when I punch the bag, I'm standing righty. I feel more comfortable in it. But guess what? My switch kick improved, and now my hook is stronger because I'm using my left hand for my hook, and my power hand is now my right hand. So since it has that few inches of extra distance,
But here's the
it gets strong.
being able to punch from that stance is one thing. Being able to move your feet in that stance and fight out of that stance is different.
I think you can. I don't listen. I think it.
I'm going to say this is why I say this. I boxed amateur for 4 years. Righty, I'd give anybody in front of me hell.
Right.
Anybody. One time I tried to switch lefty because I can hit the bag.
Yeah, but did you practice for it?
I practiced on the bags, I punched no problem. On the mitts, lefty sometimes. Sparring, I changed lefty, I got hit with 2 freaking hooks in a millisecond. I was like, alright, this is not working. Right back to the righty. So I think people are functional in that, in moving, but having another professional athlete in front of you and expecting to be able to hang at that professional level in your non-dominant hand, I don't think many people are that functional at that. I think it's a big
I guess
difference.
because I'm ambi. When I was sparring, I felt comfortable because it just changed in me. I've been teaching for so long, righty now. I became a righty, even though I'm a natural lefty. But I am ambi. I can use both
I can
sides.
write with both hands. The only thing I can't really do is throw with my left hand.
I write with my right hand.
Confidently.
Even though I'm a lefty, I write with my right hand. So my father made
Yeah, I
sure of
was gonna
that.
say that happened.
Old
That
school
was
dudes.
training.
Old school dudes. But I think that you should. I think you should spend as much time. There's some advantages to it, and I think some guys will do it better than others. That's my opinion. Everybody's going to do what they want, but I think it should be part of the training. Listen, I have to say, except for the horrible call with the main event, that was a great card.
I was happy with
For the main card, it was an awesome
Yeah,
card.
really good. Do you think the corner or doctors should have stopped the fight with Gilbert? Because I feel like every fighter is gonna say I'm fine, but with the way he was saying it in his face, I don't think he wanted to. He wasn't gonna win that fight,
I
even
think
after the first round.
I think Joe Rogan also said that it should have been stopped.
Because no fighter is gonna say no, I can't fight anymore. They're always gonna say I'm fine. I think it's up to the corner or the doctors to be like, he's not gonna win this fight. He's not a threat. So let's just stop it here before it gets any worse.
I don't think the corner is ever going to stop the fight for something like that. Unless you're getting teed off on, I don't think you're going to stop the fight.
I don't know if it was it broken shin? I don't think it was
I
broken shin.
don't think it was broken.
I think it was
saw
muscle.
A picture on Instagram, and he was like, better than it seems.
Right.
Something like
I
that.
think it was muscle tendon, something like
But it
that.
looked
It did look bad. It looked horrible. I don't know. Well, let's hope Gilbert heals up and comes back. And speaking about getting better, Florida, heal up. God bless Texas. A lot of tragedies have happened because of these hurricanes, and God bless if you believe in God. Science bless if you believe in no God. It's just terrible what's been happening because of these hurricanes, and I hope. I don't know what the official count is. Do you know how many people have died, but I know a lot of people have lost homes and some destruction has happened. So our hearts are with you and our prayers if you pray. I'm not a prayer sort of guy, but let's go to the prelim card. All right, let's go backwards. Let's talk here about these young ladies, and wow, Sarah McMahon. Now, she is an awesome wrestler. Gold medal, I believe, right?
I know she definitely won that. I don't know if it was gold or
I think it was gold. That's.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ridiculous wrestler. Power. I mean, when you look at her, her body is chiseled. And we got this fairly newcomer, Caitlin Vieira, and she was being dominated. She was being muscled, and then she basically pulls out some sort of judo trip, gets on top, and pulls off an arm triangle, which many people, and even Joe Rogan, didn't believe that she could pull it off from that position.
It was like the Barbarina Sage Northcutt thing.
Right, yeah, it was
Same
that. It can be done. It all depends on the position of your arm. And you know what? If you have big traps, you're easier to choke out, and she has big traps. So she came back. I mean, she was being dominated. She came back, did an awesome job. She's got a great pedigree herself for Brazilian wrestling.
Yep.
Vieira. You know what? This is fighting, guys. You know, doesn't matter how much you're getting abused and how much you're getting beat up, like Daryl Elkins. Come back. You're always in the fight. If there's a clock, you're in the fight. You can do it. You can pull it out. She did. I'd like to see more of her. I don't know much about her, and she did a great job. I mean, she just propelled into the top 5, I would assume, because of this fight. Maybe she has a couple more things to work on. But then again, how many people could stand with Sarah McMahon and her wrestling? So, what do you think? What did you think about that fight?
I was actually, I thought it was going the way that it was going, and when they ended up finally on the ground, and Sarah moved herself towards the fence to block her from hopping over, I thought she was pretty safe, and then she had readjusted, and I was shocked that she didn't try to put her hand by her ear to create some space.
Right. All she had to do was this, actually.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Because she had room for that.
I was surprised she didn't, try to defend that way, but I guess maybe it was in before she realized, and then it was one of those, it's too late now.
Absolutely.
But hats off to them, man.
I think commentating said it right. I think it was Joe Rogan who said a lot of these wrestlers, they don't care much for jiu-jitsu. They think they don't need to train off their back. They think that they don't need to go through those drills because they think they're going to be dominant in that position. And I think he's right. I think it's dead on that she doesn't train enough off her back, and she just didn't know what to do in that position. You've been doing jiu-jitsu since 2000. I'm roughly 15 years, and we know how to get out of that. There's a couple of different things she could have done. I mean, to at least not even get into that position. But she doesn't know how to work off her back. And if you're a professional fighter, and like I said, you have to train lefty and righty. If you're a professional fighter, you better know your jiu-jitsu. If you think jiu-jitsu is not necessary because you're an awesome wrestler, you're out of your mind. You shouldn't be in the sport. And when we drill moves and submissions, we drill them lefty and righty, right? So, you give me that?
I give you
All
that.
right. I got it. Nice.
There was another submission in the women's division.
I
Fight before.
I went to the bathroom. I missed this fight. Tell me about it, guys. Go ahead. Artem, take the lead.
Armbar finish. I didn't see the beginning. I just saw the finish. But she hyperextended her arm. I don't know if it's broken. It might have popped back in, but it was a pretty brutal
Yeah,
submission.
she did pop up. And I'll tell you, Ashley was winning that fight, dominating, take her down. And there's another thing I don't get. Takes her down, puts her on her back, and right away she's trying to go ground and pound, and Sarah's controlling her hands, elbow hand. And Sarah's Ashley's trying to work some ground and pound. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Sarah's legs are coming up, like in front, like BJ Penn,
Right.
St. Pierre style, like right in here.
Super flexible.
And I was watching my brother, and I looked at him and I was like, oh, I'd stand right up. I wouldn't stay down there.
Right.
40 seconds later, tap.
Boom.
Yeah, she locked on a good armbar. She Ashley defended pretty well. She rolled her over, and then she Sarah spun her back around and got her off the fence and finished her. But you know, when you're wrestling your strong point, and you take someone down, and all of a sudden legs start coming up like another set of hands.
Yeah.
Green light should go off and be like, all right, let's get back up now. So I was a little disappointed that, you know, Ashley didn't stand back up because I wanted her to win this fight.
Yeah. I didn't watch the fight, but was it a good fight? I mean, you're saying Ashley was winning, but was there?
It was a pretty quick fight, you know, it was over. Two minutes of changing.
Oh, really? 2
Yeah,
minutes in the first round? Oh, yeah.
3
I mean,
minutes in, so.
yeah, so, you know, well, I'm sure she'll come back. I mean,
I think so.
we don't have that many awesome women right now. I mean, there's some women growing out there. I'm seeing some stuff, especially in Russia.
I gotta tell you, when women's boxing first came around, I was like, I want to see women fight. And a couple women matches that I watched that were on, like, you know, pay-per-view cards or big cards, they were so lopsided. You know, girls' noses bleeding, blood all over her face, she's taking a pounding because one girl has a vast amount of skill, the other has virtually none. You know, I was like, I'll never watch women fight. I'll never watch women fight. And then Juliana Pena fought someone on the show, and my wife was sleeping. I woke up 3 times. Oh! I was like, these fucking girls are fighting like men. This is great.
All right.
I actually enjoy watching the women fight now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of look forward to it because some of them they can lay it down.
There was a time where they weren't up to par.
Right.
They looked
you
really
had girls
amateur.
that were and girls that weren't fighting each other,
Yeah.
which is, you know, I don't want to see that.
The first MMA, what do you call it, UFC, you remember when they had women on?
Yeah.
There was a lot of bad women on that show.
Right.
They didn't know how to fight.
Right.
But the stereotype was gone because there were some other great female fighters at the time. But yeah, they've come a long way. They've learned, they've adapted because, you know what, if you're a female and you want to become a female fighter, don't look for gyms where there's a lot of women. Okay, you're gonna get the wrong training. All right.
Gotta go play with the boys.
You gotta go play with the boys. All the best do. You gotta, and I don't know if you heard commentating that night. They say that Nunes spars with the boys, and they don't hold back on her. So that's how you gotta train. You gotta learn how to fight. Okay, you don't look for women. You could be the best in your gym, kicking every woman's ass, and then you get to a show where a woman trains with men only. She will be kicking your ass, and easily too. They've gotten better. I agree. Pena, right? I love her.
I love it too.
She's
Tough.
I couldn't believe that she lost, to tell you the truth, because I thought she was gonna get there. But I don't know. You never know what goes on in a person's head.
Yep.
You know what goes on in their lives at that time. People sometimes have a bad showing, but there's an actual excuse for it. There's never an excuse on the record books, but there's an actual excuse. People go through things in life. You never know what it is. It could be anything. It could have just happened that day. You never know. I'm sure she'll come back. She'll recenter herself and get herself back in the game. But yeah, there was a time I couldn't stand watching the women fight. Some women I could,
Right.
but some women
it's
just
a
look
good
so-
fight. I mean, listen, you get an entertaining fight between anything, and I'm watching.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like two praying mantis fighting the god, I'm gonna stop and watch.
Right.
You know what I mean? I enjoy combat sports. I enjoy participating. I enjoy, you know, watching. So if it's an interesting fight where both parties are all in and trying to win, man, that's what you want to see.
I'm
But
looking.
the second where one is just in there to survive,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, especially if it's a woman, I don't want to see that.
I'm looking forward to Cyborg and Holly Holmes.
I think Cyborg's gonna eat her up.
I don't think so.
I think so.
That's what everybody thought about Holly Holmes and Ronda Rousey. But you know what? Holly Holmes has the pedigree to beat fighters like that. I think that Cyborg is too slow.
I think Holly struggles with aggressive girls.
I think Holly struggles with aggressive grapplers. And I think that you'll have a chance to stand with Cyborg. I think she could. I think Cyborg is too slow.
I think Cyborg's also too strong.
Yeah, but Cyborg is almost a man. You know, I don't care. You know what? I'm not trying to be politically correct here. I think she's done enough steroids in her life where she's a man. I think she has an unfair advantage towards women.
Tucker versus Glenn.
No, but I thought that was an interesting point with Holly Holm struggling with aggressive fighters, because I actually think the opposite. I think when someone's like coming at her is when her counter punching is gonna be most effective.
Her hands.
Okay.
I think once you can get her to back up to the point where it's not just one or two strikes back, where you're coming forward, punching and kicking at her. I think that's where she struggles. And then especially if you have some sort of grappling pedigree,
Yeah, for sure, grappling.
then it's even more panic mode for her. But that's, you know,
Just to keep the chaos going, what do you think, Arten? Should Cyborg be fighting in the female division, male division, or used to be a female division?
If they could do a super fight with her and Connor at 45, that would sell all the pay-per-views. But I don't think guys want to fight her. That's the funny thing.
I've heard that she really beats guys. You know? Oh, I mean, what do you think? I mean, let's talk about steroids for now. I know you want to get off this topic, but I'm not going to let you. Tell me what you think. I mean, you know, you know better than I do people who, you know, work out. Just work out. Forget about fighting. Just work out. And it's part of it, you know? Some people become men. Some women become men. Some men become monsters.
Right.
You know, I see some of these guys that have so much muscle. How are they going to be when they're 50, 60 years old?
But you know what? To them, that doesn't matter. It's what they're looking in the mirror and what they want to see, and that's.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
do you think
I
that's some
think
sort of...
athletes, fighters, or athletes, it's for a totally different reason.
Do you know, what about those guys that are like this wide? I mean, it's like, do you think
Well,
that's a
now-
sickness, or do you think it's okay? Everyone has their right to look the way they want to.
I don't care what people do with their lives. As long as it don't affect mine, I don't care. You know, that's.
Oh no, of course, that's
For me,
I
unless you're looking to compete as a professional bodybuilder, you know, I don't think that much muscle is functional anymore. You know, there's a point where you can't move. You know, you see those guys that can't stretch the back of their neck.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They have muscle on top of muscle on
But
top
then
of
again,
muscle.
dude, that's not appealing to me and you.
Right.
But to him, it is. You know what I mean?
I
And
get
this woman loves it.
I
She
get
knows.
that, but do you think it's a sickness?
I don't know. I think it can be a sickness, but I don't think everyone that is that way has a sickness.
Do you think
Some people are
Cyborg
body-
is a woman now?
Yeah, I think she's a woman.
Think she's a
I
woman?
think she's a woman.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think she's some sort of hybrid right now. Listen, that's my opinion. I look at her and I see more male than I see female.
No.
I'm gonna get hate mail. Doesn't matter. I don't give a damn. That's what I see. Let's just be honest. You know, I think I don't know. I mean, obviously USADA's on this right now, so she's off of it, right? Or at least she knows exactly when to take it.
Well, with them, don't they knock on your door, you're in the testing pool.
Yeah,
it doesn't
but
matter.
not everybody gets those sort of testing. Not everybody. It's just really high-profile fights do. Maybe she's not even on the radar of USADA right now to be tested as often as John Jones is, because he already had an incident. You know what I mean? So they tested John Jones like ridiculous 20 times. You know. I think Mayweather and McGregor got tested as well, like some ridiculous amount too. I don't know. Hate me, I don't give a damn. She's a man. I have to say, you know, she shouldn't be fighting in a female league. She already became a man. Okay, so she's off of it now. She's a man. She's not a female. She shouldn't be fighting in a female league. You know, that's what I think. All right. Do you agree with people doing steroids?
I think people are always going to look for
An
a
advantage.
benefit and advantage in any way you can. Steroids will definitely give you that. At the very least, you'll recover faster from your workouts. That you'll be able to work out more times in in a month, in a week, or whatever. So
Yeah, it also gives you fucking testosterone.
but listen, anytime there's going to be a competition, human beings are going to cheat. You have to expect that.
Okay, that doesn't make it right.
No, it absolutely doesn't make it right. But it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, whatever. Those are my thoughts. I think that no matter how many belts she wins, she's already crossed the line for me, and she will never be, in my eyes, a female champ. Okay, she's a hybrid champ. That's my opinion. All right, let's move on to Tucker and Glenn. All right, I love this one because when I was watching them warm up, I'm looking at Tucker just hit those pads, and I'm like, whoa, I think this kid is going to be awesome. And they were up talking him as well. I was thinking, whoa, this guy is going to be awesome. Maybe he's that new breed that's coming out, and maybe he's even better than the new breed. He looked like he knew what he was going to do. And then Glenn comes out, and, he's... How would you say this?
That was the most dominating performance of the night.
Glenn is...
manhandled him.
He had such off timing that the guy couldn't figure out his timing. It was so slow, and he was beating him at that weird timing that the guy didn't know what to do. He was beating him everywhere. I mean, listen, he's a product of alpha male. Everyone there is awesome, all right? And if you're not awesome, you go there, you're going to become awesome because they're going to work hard with you. But I think they have so many awesome guys at that weight class over there. If you go there and you can't live up to their standards, I think you're going to get eaten up and chewed up. Then again, he is a businessman, Faber, so I'm sure he treats everyone well. But there's some awesome guys coming out of there, and they keep coming out. This guy did a great job, Glenn. My hat's off to him. I didn't think he was going to win. I don't think he has the physique. I didn't think he could even do this, but whoa. Not only did he do it, he did it in spectacular fashion. And he beat him up, and that fight should have been stopped earlier.
I agree with you.
And that was...
I teeter-tottered on that for a little bit. I think it was the end of the second round and the middle of the third. I was like, oh man, they need to stop this. They need to stop this. And then there was like 20 seconds left, and I was like, let him finish. You know what I mean? He's there already. Let him finish. Let him get hit for 20 seconds. He took fucking 10 minutes of it. Let him finish.
Yeah.
So I went both ways with this because I would have been mad if I was Tucker and I fought like that and I got dominated like that, and then you're gonna stop the fight in the last 30 seconds. Where were you?
Let's talk about throwing in the towel in MMA. We've never seen it happen.
No.
I have seen a fight being stopped and then someone threw a towel. Have you ever seen that? I don't remember.
Nate Diaz, I think his brother threw in the towel when he was getting finished by Josh Thompson. You see the towel fly in when Nate is getting beat up.
It could have been that. That was a pretty.
Yeah, they let that go because I think the referee knows Nate could take damage, but that was a little too much.
That was a lot of damage.
Yeah, and then the towel flew in.
I mean, you know what? He's a young guy. He's got the skills. He just hasn't put it together. He's not on that level yet. Okay? Maybe he just couldn't hold his own against a guy who's been trained properly. And from what I understand, he's a vet. So, I mean, he's gonna be in a depression for a year, maybe even more, after that beating.
I don't know. I think it depends. This dude's a warrior. I don't think he he falls into a depression. I think he.
The harder you are, the easier you are
I
to
think
break.
so. I think it's the other way around. I think that when you're tough like that, you walk out and you say, you know what, I didn't have it today, but I fought and he couldn't fucking finish me. And that's what I look
You
at.
could look at it that way. Of course, that's a possibility.
That's why I said in the beginning, in the third round,
But I think that beating was too
when
much.
they were gonna stop it, I looked at the time. I was like, it's 27. Let it finish, man. Let me go.
But there was a lot of guys that night who really played it smart. I think we're evolving as a sport,
I agree.
and people are not going,
They're not going in
off
there
the
to
cuff.
fight. They're going in there to win.
yeah, and they're going to utilize their skills. They want to keep their cardio intact,
Right. And they don't want to take unnecessary damage.
Right.
Which, I can agree with too.
and it still makes for a good fight as well because they're still fighting. But there was a few fights like that. I think this fight should have been stopped. I felt bad for the guy. I think there's some point where people should throw in the towel.
I agree.
I think his corner should have thrown in the towel, no matter what they thought he was, what he would have said. Some people get upset. Why'd you throw in the towel? They make an excuse out of it. They should look at the ref. Who was the ref? It wasn't someone I
It was
recognized.
some new guy. Yeah.
Yeah, they should look at that ref and not bring him back anymore. I think this was unnecessary damage. It was really bad. It's just, I've seen people take less damage and fucking go into depression over it. Alright, that's just my opinion, but who knows? Sometimes things look bloodier than they actually are, but I thought he was taking damage. At the same time, Glenn wasn't throwing power punches either. He was just nice punches. He was landing them perfectly. It's not like he was throwing haymakers in there, and you're like, when John Jones, what was that elbow? It's coming at such a speed. I feel bad for his opponents. Let's talk about Clark and White. All right,
I didn't see this fight.
boring alert. It was boring for most of the fight, and then really weird thing happened, and a really cool thing. I would never expect that it would come out like this if I were teaching someone about the situation. So basically, they get into a fisticuff. He throws a left uppercut, okay, and he puts in a whizzer, and he holds on to that whizzer, and he keeps elbowing and punching and elbowing and punching, and it's just, the other guy just didn't have anything to say for that. I don't know why. I don't know why he couldn't get out of that whizzer. I don't know why he couldn't just grab the other arm. Whatever. I don't know why he took that much damage, but that damage was too much.
Did he get rocked with the first shot?
He took a nice uppercut. Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't all there.
Probably.
He was rocked and just kept getting hit. I didn't.
Probably, and he retired that night too. Probably he did get rocked, but shouldn't there be some instincts that come in at that point? Just hold on. Just hold on.
Sometimes you get hit, you get frozen for a minute, and then you hit again. And you hit again.
No, this went on for like 10 punches.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, this went on for quite, maybe even more than 10 punches. It was pretty intense. He just really took a beating. When I was looking at him, his legs were kind of like buckling in. He has like these legs where the knees go in and his feet go out. It's just the sort of structure, and I think he said something like, my body can't do what my mind wants it to. So maybe he has some sort of deformity. Who knows? I don't know what it is. I don't know much about the guy. It was super boring. It was like one of those fights where the guy throws a punch, the guy makes a miss, the other guy throws a punch, that guy makes a miss. And it's like, what the hell is going on? Is anybody going to take that extra step? Obviously, for however long they were fighting before they actually landed something, you're missing, all right? You need an extra step. Get in there. I was like really disappointed with this fight until that happened. It was cool right at the end. But, I don't know. I think that he landed that uppercut and then got away with this wizard dirty boxing sort of thing. He wizarded him and he was just hitting him. And then he ended up finishing the guy Um, I don't know. I wasn't that impressed with the fight, but at the end it got nice. How could you say a bad thing about a guy who did his job eventually? But I don't know. I wasn't impressed with Alex White. I wasn't impressed with that fight much. He had his moment towards the end, but as a whole, I don't look at Alex White and say, oh, this guy is someone to be revered. Not from that fight. I mean, maybe he had some other great fights, but it seemed like Mitch was already out. He knew that he was going to be, this was going to be his last fight. So if you can't perform amazingly on a guy who's ready, to just bow out gracefully, I don't know. But who knows? There are guys who performed horribly before, like Whitaker, and now he's the interim champ. I never really liked Whitaker. I didn't think he was going to be all that great, and then he just becomes this monster. So you never know against a person. Now let's talk. Did you guys watch the early prelim? Because I did.
I saw the highlights for this, and there's a.
Walk
so
us
this
through
guy, Arjan, is the first Indian fighter in the UFC. He's
Oh,
from
that's
Canada,
great.
but he's the first Indian. But there was some controversy with this. He dominated the whole fight, but apparently they didn't allow him to walk out with a turban. And that's a whole Reebok thing.
Wait, he's Indian. What the hell is
He
what do you
wanted.
need
He's a
turban
Sikh,
for?
and he wanted to wear a turban.
That's not a turban. Sikhs have a different thing.
Well,
Why wouldn't
it's,
they let him walk out with
it's
his?
some Reebok.
But he doesn't have hair. That
Well,
the
maybe
thing
because
that's
I could
of
pull it
the
up.
uniform, Reebok. That's like their uniform, and that's
it's.
They
didn't
I
let
read it. If it doesn't have a brand of something else, you can wear whatever the hell you want.
Reebok should have made him with a headdress with the.
Why would
logo
he's a
on it.
Sikh? He's not a terrorist or anything like that. I mean, he's a Sikh. Sikhs wear that the bun.
I think they wear the I guess you call it a turban too, right?
Yeah.
No, Sikhs have a bun. It's like it's a white.
Don't the younger ones wear that? And then I don't know. I'm talking.
That's because it
Yeah.
holds their hair. That's
Yeah,
Sikhs.
yeah.
Sikhs don't wear.
They don't know that.
That's what I'm wondering. What did
For
he
him,
want?
it was a turban. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to wear a turban.
Yeah,
I
because that's
think
what he
he
was
wears
wearing for the
turbans as well.
Olympics when he was wrestling. He would always wear that, and he didn't make it a big deal because he still wanted to focus on the fight. But after the fight, he mentioned that they didn't allow him to wear it.
I gotta get more.
And that's happened
information
before
about this.
with Henry Cejudo. He used to come out in some Aztec uniform,
Right.
and they didn't let him do that. And then Jorge Masvidal was on Joey Diaz's podcast one time,
Uh-huh.
and his Cuban trainer is super superstitious, and he has to wear this yellow hat every fight, and they don't allow him to wear it because it's not Reebok. So even cornermen are being forced not to wear certain things.
You could wear if there's no logo on it. I don't
No,
know.
I think they're really.
I think
I think they're
Maybe
superior.
during the fight it's different.
I think they want him to wear everything, the same, like a uniform.
Listen,
One
here. This is first of all, Habib Nurmagomedov comes out with that furry hat. Okay, that furry hat is a war hat for the Kafkas. Okay, so if they let him wear that,
Right, why couldn't you wear it?
why can't he?
I agree
Okay,
with that.
the man's a Sikh. I don't know if he's from Iraq, and he wants to wear this turban, and it represents something. Okay, maybe there's
I don't even think any
there's
of
a
that-
conversation to be
I
had.
don't think any of that should matter either. Listen, it's his religious beliefs, like the New York City Police Department. They have sheiks that work for them,
Yeah.
and they have turbans.
Right.
They wear them.
It's not called a turban.
Whatever
Yeah.
it is, I don't know. But I don't see why that's an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. You should be allowed to come out with it.
Yeah. If the man wants to come out with it, let him come out. What the hell is that? And I'd like to know more about it. I mean, I'd like to know what the hang-up was and what their excuse was, because we could be talking about.
We don't
something
have.
else.
There's no excuse from the UFC yet.
No.
But basically, right now it's it was short notice. But then again, why would you need to give a notice for that?
And this got finished in the first round.
This was a decision. It was a very dominant decision.
Oh, okay, yeah, decision. very dominant decision.
Yeah.
He did well.
Yeah,
Skill
he's
level was
a
awesome.
really good wrestler. Like he's
Yeah.
slammed them.
Yeah, you know, India is all about wrestling. They wrestle over there. So he's a really good wrestler. What about his stand-up?
Stand up was okay. It was good.
What weight class is
It
this?
is heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Yes.
Good, we need some new heavyweights anyway.
He's a really well spoken guy as well.
Yeah?
Like I heard his interview about the whole situation. He's like a really smart, well spoken
Sikhs are
guy.
beautiful people, man. They're vegetarians. They're really nice. They, you know, they're peace loving. They're, you know, I don't know. Let's go on to the other prelim, the early
the
prelim.
first fight on the card. This was a tiny little shot that put Adriano out cold.
Oh
It
yeah.
was kind of like, you know, Volkan Ozdemir, how he's been knocking guys out with these little shots that just hit the side of the head and the guy
Uh-huh.
goes out. It was similar to that. It didn't look like a big shot, but he kind of just touched him and Adriano went out.
What round?
It was first round.
First round.
Round three, sorry.
Johnson looks angry.
That's good. You got to be angry. Last week we were talking about killers, you know, and I think if you're a great athlete and you're a killer, you have an advantage.
I agree.
You know? What is it? Nas didn't agree with me that, yeah, of course there'd be some great athletes, but if you're a great athlete and a killer, you have an advantage. So that's why I said, what do you call it? Cody Gambrat, I think is going to kill Dillashaw because he's a killer. They're both great athletes, but I think he's a killer, and Cody's a great athlete. I mean, I'm sorry, Dillashaw.
Dude, Phil was good at great athlete.
Yeah, I don't think he's a killer.
I don't think not to the level that Cody is at. Cody's different. Cody's
He's like a hot.
he's like cowboy. He'll fight anyone right now. Okay, let's go.
Oh, he's
You know what I
a
mean? Like
he's a
that.
hothead. Cowboy's not a
No,
hothead.
I mean by he'll fight no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He'll fight, yeah.
Right now. Like
Yeah.
the cowboy had me laughing one time when I was watching. He's like, I'll do it here, I'll do it there, I'll do it in the parking lot.
I'd like to see him and Conor McGregor, but Conor McGregor has gone up too much in weight. But maybe both of them at 45?
Cowboy's one of my favorite fighters. Man.
Cowboy, yeah. I mean,
Love it.
how could you not respect a guy
I
like
love
that?
that dude.
You know, whether he becomes champion or not, he'll always be in the UFC.
Yeah.
They'll never let him go. Winning fights, losing fights. He never loses fights ridiculously, you know. He has some great combo wins, and I love his combinations. He's a great fighter. He's a great dude. He's like a staple of
He's
UFC
another dude.
front seat.
His jiu-jitsu is crazy.
Yeah.
Doesn't use it because his striking's so good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, he's a legit dude, man.
Yeah, but I mean, is he a crazy jiu-jitsu guy like you would see, like Eddie Cummings sitting down using butterfly guard,
No.
that sort of guy?
Off his back, I think he's a much stronger jiu-jitsu player, which plays into MMA, but especially if you're a striker.
Yeah, but would you ever want to be on your back in MMA? Like
No,
purposely?
but if you're a striker,
Right.
right, the second you're going to plant to throw, punch, kick, knee, whatever it is, if you're fighting a wrestler or someone who's well-versed in takedowns, that's what they're waiting for. For you to plant your feet to throw a hard shot to take you down, so you can penetrate through. But now when you get taken down, where's the best place you want to have good jiu-jitsu defense from? Your back. And he's probably got one of the most active and dangerous guards, I think, in the UFC. Well, that dude throwing reverse triangles from underneath people. His jiu-jitsu is crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure he's great.
Fighter.
And he makes good friends with a lot of guys, and he brings them into his gym. You know, he has his own
He's a
gym.
good dude, man.
And you know he trains out of Jackson, but he really befriends a lot of young up and coming dudes, and he works with them. I don't know what it is. Why does he always climbs and then loses? I mean, in some of those fights you didn't even think he would have lost, but you know who knows? I mean, you never know. Like who would have thought Bisping was going to be champion? And then it happens, right? So you never know. It could happen.
That's still old. Any given day, anything can happen.
Any given day, anything can happen.
What do you think about him and George this week?
I mean, I think it's a money fight, right? That's why they're doing it. I think George has been out for too long, and
I think George is going to handle it.
Think so?
Readily handle him. Did you see the way he looks lately?
No.
Jordan's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Monster. Like this. So he went
The
up.
pictures
in
I
weight.
see, I
He went up in weight and it's all muscle. Like boy doesn't have an ounce of fat on him anymore.
I don't know, man. I give it to Bisping. It's
We'll see.
so let it be written, so let it be done. I give it to Bisping. We'll see. What do you think, Arthur?
I think George is gonna win.
Yeah.
I hope he wins too. He's one of my favorite fighters, but I think he has the. I think he's gonna pull it off.
Yeah. I give it to Bisping. Let's talk about some other things. Okay, we're off the card. We did it. Just want quick thoughts from you. Conor McGregor. What do you think? Real fast. We could talk about this for days.
I'm not a big fan of Conor. His fighting.
Uh-huh.
He's earned my respect over a few fights, but I'm not a big McGregor fan. I think he is witty and very, very funny. So I give him a lot of respect for that. But as a fighter, I don't.
I'm talking about the fight with Mayweather. What do you think about that, Nick?
I think that was a circus, not in the sense of bad. I think that was,
Yeah.
I think them two had a couple of drinks in the bar together and said, "Yo, we should fight each other and get paid." And I think that's what it was. I think Floyd could, if he really wanted to, he could have finished him, in the third round.
Well, it seems like they had a technique of letting him punch himself out and then work him up.
I think
They're playing for 8th round,
I
but
think that might have been just the answer they were looking to give to make sure that the man's dangerous when he's fresh, sure. And listen, cardio to go, 12 rounds, 12 3-minute rounds. It's totally different than going, 5 5s.
you know what I want to talk about with you? Artem, can you pull up, man, this guy's name is so hard to pronounce. Owali or something like that.
I think I know what you're talking.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He went to the UFC. He was the Ring of Combat champ. By the way, Ring of Combat is coming up this weekend. He was the Ring of Combat champ. He went to the UFC. He lost a few fights. I think he's 2-1. He lost 2
There it
and
is.
1-1. He'll put him up right now. Yes. Wale Bambose. Oh. They nabbed us. All right. So this guy, he just lost his last 2 in the UFC.
He's I think he got in the UFC short notice against Hall.
Yeah. So why I want to talk to you about that, I know you're friends with the boys at Longo MMA, and what he did is he went to Ray Longo's gym, and he wanted to train there. He felt that his gym took him so far, and he needed to up his game. So this was an article done by Bloody Elbow, maybe by others as well. He went there. He goes up to what do you call it? Chris Weidman. He says, "I want to train with you. I want to come here. I want to train with you, and I want you to show me everything you know." It's like he's not even dying yet. The man is still growing himself and trying to get himself on top. So he went there. He became part of the gym. Weidman shows up with his boy Gian Vellante, awesome guy. He trains with him all the time. They wrestle together. They do some stuff together. They finish. They're about to go home. He gets all upset that he wasn't invited to their training session and badmouths the gym. Do you know about this?
I know some stuff about
You know, so talk. Well,
I don't like to,
Well, first let me give you my opinion, all right, and then you can tell me. You know what? I don't care how many belts anyone won. You walk into Ray Longo's gym, you speak to Ray Longo. He tells you what you're gonna do. He's gonna tell you how to train, where to go, who to train with, what to do what at what time, all right? You don't dictate what happens at someone else's gym. All right? That being said, do you agree?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm going to say this. I know Ray for a long time.
Yeah.
Ray's a sweetheart of a man.
Awesome
Take
guy.
his shirt off his back and hand it to you.
Awesome guy. Yeah.
I can't see Ray turning anyone away. Anyone.
Right.
So, right off the bat, you know, that's how I'm looking at the situation. Like I said, I heard a little bit about, you know.
What I don't like, and this guy's a nice guy. I've
I
met
never
him,
met him, you know.
but he really disappointed me because how do you go speak ill about a gym? Because no gym is supposed to conform to you.
Do you know how he ended up at Ray's? Like,
No, talk. Let's go. Let's get going, brother.
I heard, and I could be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that he had a mutual friend who trains at Ray's. Not a fighter, he just trains at kids' class.
Right.
And his friend was like, oh yeah, you know, these guys are in here at this time, you know, go in. And he just showed up one day while Weidman was training for his last fight. So that's what the incident that you were referring to, that's how it happened. And he went there once and they were there, and then I don't know how he ended up.
From what I read is
Second
that
time.
he already had signed up. He already became part of this gym.
I don't know, like I said, I
Even
don't know
so,
that
that doesn't give him a right to go and intrude on someone's.
And not only that, they're in the same weight class.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if I'm Chris and I'm training for a fight,
Right.
I don't want to train with someone who's not my sparring partner,
Right.
right?
You don't know if he's
This
gonna.
guy gets a little nutty and elbows me and cuts me and now I'm out of
Right.
fight.
Or bites you or whatever.
Whatever. You know, we used to say fourth floor eyes, crazy people, right?
Right.
You don't know. So if I was Weidman, I wouldn't train with him either.
Right.
You know, if you want to train, you want to become part of the gym. Well,
After my fight, let's get close. Let's get to know each other. Let's roll together. You know, whatever.
I think sometimes people just do things to have people talk about them and have their name out there a little bit more to promote who they are. Maybe he thought he was going to talk some smack and get a fight with White. Who knows?
I've met this guy. He's a really nice guy. He's also, he calls himself the something warrior. What is it? Holy war angel. All right. And you know, he believes in God. He's a nice guy. I had a talk with him once. He knows that a lot of my guys fight at CFFC. CFFC made an offer to him, and he was kind of like, because he's been fighting at Ring of Combat. And I said to him, listen, you know, I love CFFC. I love being there, but you're at Ring of Combat. You're already the champion there. You know you're going to go to UFC like any minute. Why would you even think about going somewhere right now when if you're the champion at Ring Combat, it's almost
Right.
It's almost 100%.
You're going.
Yeah, you're winning. I mean, if you're going, why would you go there? And at that moment, I said to myself, why would a guy even think that? I know he's a nice guy, but it also gets you into the psyche of a person. You know, why would you leave Ring of Combat to go somewhere else and you know risk everything for $1,000 more? Do you get what I'm saying? Or $500 more, whatever the situation is. So I was really disappointed how he badmouthed the gym, you know, and it just didn't settle right with me. You know, I don't care what level you're at. You walk into someone else's gym and you're not willing to clean the floors if he tells you to, then you shouldn't be there. You know what? Go find yourself a bunch of yes men and do what you got to do for yourself. Personally, if a place raised you and they got you to where you are, maybe the problem isn't your gym. Maybe it's you yourself. You know, it happens. I don't care how many gods you worship, man. People get their egos inflated, you know, and they start to lose. You know, they get off a track. They forget the things that got them there. They think, and this happens a lot. People stop to appreciate the drilling and the suffering that they went through in the beginning. And what they do is now they're looking for new things, you know? You know what, buddy? If you change your style in the middle of your professional career, it's not going to work for you. How about you add things to your already existing style, but don't change it. Don't look for the grass being greener somewhere else. You know what?
I think
It's
people are
weak
always-
mentality. That's
I
how I
think
see it.
people are always like that. They always look to oh, what's going on over there? Is that better than what I'm doing here?
Right.
I think that's just more human nature. I don't know.
Yeah.
His last,
He lost two.
His last two?
Yeah.
Were they the two knockouts? Or
One was a TKO, and one was a decision. You know,
maybe that was the deal. Maybe he was the man in Ring of Combat, and now he stepped up against stuff.
You know what? His first fight at UFC. Go down R10. I think his first fight was against Uriah Hall. Now they put him in there with a vet. I mean, and this guy is. I mean, he has his on and off days, but you know.
Right, but Uriah Hall is legit.
He's legit. You know. And his off days have nothing to do with him not being legit. You know, it could be other things. Who knows what it is? But they put him in there with that. I think that it was too much for him at that time. And UFC doesn't realize this, that they destroy more fighters than they build. Fighters are not as tough as people think. You know, they're fickle-minded. They could snap at any moment. They're wound so tight sometimes, and if you don't properly raise them, in certain cases, they fall apart.
I was going to say, you got to think about it this way, right?
Yeah.
There has to be something a little off with you if you want to get kicked and punched in the face for a living. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is I don't see as too far from being super possible with 90%. I think the person that really excelled out of that win, lose, or draw is the person who understands and is at terms with themselves of I went out there, I gave it my all, and I didn't make the cut. I didn't win. You know, or I got caught, I got knocked out. Once you can digest that as what happened to you and say, okay, I got two choices now. I'm gonna fix the problem, or I'm just gonna go back to doing what I was doing before. Fixing the problem is the way to go, and those are the guys that end up coming back better.
Yeah.
The guys who just, go back to, I'm gonna start training again and don't.
But where's the problem? This is the secret. Where's the problem? It's always in the same place.
It's in the fighter's head.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they're always looking to fix it by external means, and that's where they mess up.
I think that's where a good coach, manager, whatever, someone who understands how the fighter thinks,
Right.
and pick that brain apart. And bro, listen, that happened because of this. Now, what are you gonna do about it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. But sometimes guys are so, these are egomaniacs as well, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them. So sometimes they don't listen to their coaches, to their managers, whatever. Whatever the situation is, bad thing on this guy's part. Okay, so it happened. Why would you go and spew it to, online media and really just, you're a New Yorker. They're New Yorkers. We have friends, we train with Belmore Kickboxing, we train with Tiger Showmans, and I told these guys a long time ago, I believe that our guys are the best. Why don't we train together? Because we have to take on the world. Why do we have to destroy each other now? Why be enemies here when we can help each other? And we've done that. It was the greatest decision. And Andre Harrison is coming on next week, guys. So we're going to have Andre Harrison, World Series of Fighting champ, in the house right here on the Vanguard show. It's home. Why would you say that about, what happened to me not too long ago, where I wasn't allowed to train or train my guys in certain places because someone made some phone calls. You know what? You know who okayed it for us to train at certain place? Matt Serra. Okay, the man, he'll help you out. These are good people, and Ray's an awesome guy. They're not evil dudes. Why would you put them in that sort of situation? They are the pioneers of this sport here. Okay, these guys started it when none of us knew anything. Renzo Gracie was training these guys in a garage, please, if you can't respect these guys, I mean, something wrong with you. You know, yes, we've been in opposite corners before, but it was always an honor for me to be there. Not any sort of hatred or, oh, I'm gonna beat these guys, I'm gonna show them how I am, you know? Listen, bad call on this guy's part. You know, Matt Serra, Ray Longo, awesome dudes, awesome camp. You gotta respect them. Even if you fight them often, respect them, all right? They're doing their thing. They know what they're doing. They don't need some young buck coming up who's lost 2 fights, coming in dictating who their top guy should spar with, you know? And they have a bunch of awesome dudes coming up over there. We spoke about this last week. What do you think about Cody Gambrandt saying "wait a long boy" to Aljamain Sterling? Do you know about this?
No.
You don't know about this?
No.
And Aljamain got a little upset. You know, he's like, unless you're KKK, don't call me boy. You know. And if you guys said a couple things the other day, what is your opinion on that?
I don't know, man.
You want to know the context more?
Yeah, definitely.
Aljamain's kind of calling out Cody.
Right.
You know, blah blah blah. I think Cody first disrespected him, saying that he just beat the old champ, the ex-champ, and you know he's basking in joy right now, Aljamain. And Cody comes out and says, "Oh, you know, you're a mediocre fighter. You know, you beat a guy that was on his way out anyway. He's not himself." And I don't know the exact words, but I'm sure Artem could pop it up if you want to read the tweets. Something along the lines of, they're just exchanging some words, and he's like, "Watch out for me," or something like that. Like, "I'm coming to get you, Cody." Cody said, "Wait in line, boy," you know, and I'm in my 40s. You know, I know that word is offensive. You know, I would never call a black guy boy. You know, but at the same time, does Cody know this? Is it part of today's?
I don't know.
Did he mean it like that? I don't think so. But at the same time, he is from Ohio.
Yeah,
So maybe it is something that they say.
I find it hard to believe that he would mean it that way.
Right.
You know, but shit, man, nowadays you never fucking know. You never know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I see Cody can be a hothead. You see him on, on the show and after on interviews. But I don't see him, I see him speaking his mind, but not, I don't see that. But then again, you just said it right. I wouldn't say that, for not fucking nothing, unless I wanted to provoke a certain action. I wanted to fight.
Right.
Because that's what I'm asking for by saying that.
A lot of the guys last week said, "Oh, we shouldn't even talk about it. This is race baiting and things like that." But I thought about it this week, and I don't know. I'm not saying that he was trying to be racial, but I think he should know better than, in whatever way, You could say, "Hey, you're my boy,"
Right.
right? But wait in line, boy. Do you find the context that's right in that situation? It could be ignorant to not knowing what that could have meant to someone.
I don't think he meant it.
Yeah, I don't think he meant it either. But at the same time, come on. I think everybody knows what it is, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I definitely would have taken offense to it if it was said to me.
Right.
Aljamain's, a great guy.
Right.
My son wrestles over there like Ray. He's always helping out with the class.
Right.
He's a great guy. I would have been upset if it was said to me. On the other end, I think Cody meant it as, "I'm the champion. Relax. Get in line." You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, of course. That's what I think too.
But nowadays, everybody's so...
Is that a word that the young kids use now?
I don't think so.
And it's okay? Maybe
But then again, Cody's what?
Arten, how old are you?
22.
We got
I
an expert.
I don't really think he meant it that way.
Right, but do guys say boy a lot? Is that something?
It just, the tone of your voice, I guess, really makes it come off bad or good.
And
I guess you're right, yeah.
There's the problem because this doesn't understand.
Exactly.
tone.
Emotion.
You know, that's why I never talk to people via text when anything is like
Right.
moderately important. Call me.
I think that the man got offended, and he rightfully got offended. I don't think he's race baiting.
I don't think so either.
But at the same time, I don't think Cody was trying to be racial, you know. And maybe that's just how he speaks, you know. Maybe he uses boy in his vocabulary like often. You never know. He's from Ohio. Maybe they say stuff like that. You know, we see it in the movies, but do we really know? You know, get over here, boy. You know, like those sort of. I don't know. How deep can you go with this? I think Cody should just come out and say, or maybe he did.
Are they're still carrying on back and forth?
I don't know. Maybe he did, but I think he should come out and say, listen, I didn't mean it in a racial way. If that's how it came off, you know, I sincerely apologize, but I'm gonna kick your ass if you come near me. You know, just if you come anywhere near my octagon, I'm gonna kill you. All right, leave it at that. You know, but. You know, these are some serious things. You know, if you say stuff to people, you know, there are people in this world, you know, blacks, Jews, people who've been really wronged by the silent majority, because there's always this silent, peaceful majority, and every generation somehow. This silent majority never gets heard, and certain people get hurt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going on right now as we speak, and people get hurt, and then we don't really realize it until, you know, millions are dead, and or enslaved, or whatever the situation is. And I think people should be respected. At the same time, that's not to say that there are some people out there who are race baiting and who've gone, you know, too far with it.
I think there's definitely a huge portion of what you said is correct, but I also think that people tend to be too fragile lately. Mm-hmm. You literally can't offend me. You can say anything you want to me. It doesn't bother me, not one bit, because it doesn't hold any weight with me.
Right.
See, when it holds weight, that's when it hurts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Without, you know, trying to sound like a dick. I don't give a fuck what you say. You know what I mean? And if you have that attitude, then nothing can bother you, right? So I think people get way too offended. I'm offended, I'm offended. Whatever, talk over there. I think people need to be more of that nowadays. Politically correct, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really tap dance about how
I hate the
way I
people.
talk.
I hate the people who are getting offended over every silly
That's what
thing.
I'm getting at.
But myself, all right, I've been in situations. No one ever thinks I'm Jewish, you know. No one.
Right.
You know, I've been in situations, you know, and people have said some nasty things, and sometimes I even regret for not taking it even further. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like, oh no, Tango's Jewish, and it's like, oh, you're a good Jew. What the fuck does that
Well,
mean?
that's the background.
What the
Listen, man,
fuck does that mean?
Tango, I get you, man. I grew up, had a lot of, you know, black friends, a lot of Spanish friends, a lot of white friends, and I would go like into the stores in the neighborhood with my white friends, and nothing happened. I go in the store with one or two of my black friends, and we get followed around the store.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, so I see a lot of what, you know, a lot of African Americans in this country talk about. I've seen growing up because I've been on both sides. And you look at me, you know, in the summer, I get a little bit of a tan. I definitely look Puerto Rican. No doubt about it. So
Does it mean like carnal?
I slide past a lot, but you know, I see both sides of it, and I understand a lot more, I think, than the average, you know, white guy. But it's just a fucking shitty situation because, and it really, it's just about respect, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the amount of respect
Right.
that I would want back from you.
Right.
The only time that changes is because of your behavior. If you behave differently to me, then some of that respect is getting taken away. And if you go a little further, now it's all gone. And then we're ready to, there's a line of sand, and you cross it, then things get dealt with. I think people are unsure of themselves where their line is. You know what I mean? And that has to do with, like I said before, you can't insult me. You can say whatever you want to me. I don't give a shit. My line is over there. And when you start getting to it, I'm going to let you know. Hey, watch yourself. You know what I'm saying?
People, the guy we mentioned before, he didn't agree with something. We and I had a disagreement. And this guy was my friend. He said, I understand why Hitler wanted to kill the Jews. Do you get what I'm saying? That came out of someone who's your friend.
Right.
Some disgusting people out there, man. And it's just, and you know what? I'm not a Jew. I'm not white. I'm not black. I'm nothing. I am the person who's being fucking kicked on the floor. I don't care who that person is. If you're hurting someone and you're bullying someone and you're putting them down, I am that person and I am your enemy. That's it, I've tried to be politically correct before in the past. It doesn't work, And I'm not saying people should go out and start, hitting people with bats. I'm not saying that, but I'm a human being, and I believe that there's no such thing as black, white, Jewish, this, that, Christian. You're all my brothers and sisters.
Absolutely right.
You're all my brothers and sisters. And you know what? And anyone who's being hurt is my brother and sister. And that's the person. I don't care if you're Jewish and they're whatever, Muslim. If you're hurting them and you're going too far, I'm that person, and I'm gonna protect whoever's down, whoever's being, kicked while they're on the ground. That's who I am. And someone said that to me, a mentor in my life, a long time ago, and that's how I've always lived. But people are disgusting, and they say stupid things, and they do stupid things, and people don't understand how offensive certain things can be.
Right.
You know what I mean? And nobody has it easy in this life. There's persecution all around the world. But growing up in a place like America, of course, the Christians have it easier in America. But who's to say that they've never been persecuted? They have. They've been persecuted many times. And I'm sure they've been persecuted by Jews, by Muslims, by other Christians, by different sect of Christians. It happens all the time. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I'm a camouflage sort of dude. Nobody knows what the hell I am. Everyone always assumes that I am just like they are, And things come out of people's mouths. And, respect. Respect. You never know who's going to have your back when you need it. And you never know who's going to slap you in the face when, you're being evil. It just, respect. Everyone's, we all bleed red, so that thing is for certain. There's no person on this planet, any female that's reproductive, that I can't have a child with. That means we're the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we're the same. We're human beings. And we'll leave it at that. Great convo. Told you you do great. Thanks for coming on the Vanguard show. How long did we go this time?
140.
Yeah.
Almost 2 hours.
I told you, once we get talking, we don't stop. We don't stop. I think we got the video right this time.
Yeah, it stopped like twice, but I was able to restart it.
Yeah?
So it's like a millisecond of freeze, but it was good.
Okay.
You bamboozled me, fucking Tango.
I got you in. It happened to be that it's a good thing I got you in, because I wasn't sure who was coming today and who wasn't, and it happened to be that neither of them could.
No, I mean, you got me with the Ray Longo fucking African dude, Babuse, whatever the name is.
Oh, with that one?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't give up too much anyway. You were being kind of vague. Get into the camera. Get into the camera.
We're done, aren't we?
No, we're still recording.
No, I'm done, bro.
All right, thanks. Episode number 3 was a little longer. We had a good conversation. Next week, we're going to have Andre Harrison, World Series of Fighting champion, Ring of Combat champion, Titan champion. The man's a champ. He's undefeated. He's an awesome dude from Belmore Kickboxing. We're going to kick it with Andre Harrison next week.